The United States is an unbelievably diverse place. I mean, you guys have 300 million people here. That's a lot of people. And there are a lot of different cultural contexts, and there are different rules that go along with all of them. And the gun thing is really one of them. I mean, I come from this little town in northern Alberta. Most people there have a gun, or 10 or 100. Like, they have lots of guns, and they hunt. You know, I grew up on wild meat. My dad hunts. He still hunts. He's 82. You know, he's slowing down a little bit, obviously, because he's getting old. But
he's using a gun now instead of a knife.
Yeah,
when he's out there.
But he doesn't just jump on the animal. So yes, and people don't necessarily understand, unless they've been beat around a little bit, how different these different contexts are, and that there can be valid rules that apply in the different contexts. You know, and it's best to live and let live, as far as I'm concerned. And I also don't think that only the state should be allowed to be dangerous, which is partly why I don't really like the restrictions. I mean, some reasonable restrictions on weapon ownership are obviously necessary. You don't get to have a Sherman tank unless you're a private collector, you know. Probably you shouldn't have an atom bomb, something like that. Yeah. And so there's some cutoff to how heavily you should be armed.
Agreed.
But zero amount of dangerousness is the wrong amount of dangerousness for the autonomous citizen.
Yeah.
I think people should be encouraged, in some sense, to be as dangerous as they can be and still be civilized. That's a great motif. Well, I think for women and men.
Yeah.
For both. It's like, yeah, man, you should be dangerous. It's like, no, you should be nice. It's like, nice. The distinction between nice and weak is very, very difficult to make. Now, if you're a horrible monster and you've got that developed and you can be civilized and decent, like, more power to you. It's one thing I really like about Joe Rogan. You know, he's an absolute bloody monster. He's really, really, really tough.
Yeah.
And yet he's very truthful. He's very forthright. Like, and all that toughness is integrated into his character. And it makes him a formidable interviewer, because you can tell, like, he won't budge.
No.
Not a bit. He's also extraordinarily funny, so it's cool to see him. I think he really is a remarkable person, and I've watched lots of people.
He is.
He's like 4 standard deviations above the mean in tough. He's 4 standard deviations above the mean in smart, and he's 4 standard deviations above the mean in funny.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a guy, man.
He's like, to me, he's like a poignant, and he's also a father of 3 girls, which I think
is comical,
it's so comical.
Yeah, it is. Did you see his take on the Kardashians? Oh my God, it's in his last comedy special, and he talks about
no, I've seen that on stage.
God,
it's so
being
good.
dominated by women, which he is at the moment. It's so comical.
He's like a poignant teddy bear that joined the Marines. That's how I think of him.
Well, Jocko Willink is kind of like that too. And
I haven't met him yet.
Jocko's about 6 inches thicker.
Is he really?
Oh man, he's a formidable looking guy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And he's like, discipline. Get yourself the hell out of bed in the morning, you bloody weasels.
And you know what?
Put yourself together.
So much of that is even the things that I learned in AA is just getting going, like contrary action. Take the next right action, whatever it is, no matter how I feel, even if I feel like I'm a piece of shit, or I'm not worth something, or that nobody loves me, or that nobody ever loved me.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what.
All true. You're worthless. No one loves you. Yeah, probably true.
But get up and and make my fucking bed. And because then once I do that, I'm going to go to the next thing. And then suddenly I'm in the living room, and I maybe there's an egg grilling in the other room, and I'm suddenly in control of my life, and my feelings and my negative thoughts aren't in control anymore.
Take the best next step that you can manage to take.
Yeah.
That's a great rule, man, and that's the right path, eh? And the question, well, if you're...
Because it's forward.
Forward.
It's a forward path.
Towards something worthwhile. That's where you want to be. You want to be moving forward towards something worthwhile. You don't even necessarily want to be where it's worthwhile, although that would be all right. And maybe now and then you get there, and then you're happy. But mostly what you want to be is moving forward to something worthwhile, which also indicates why you need to specify something worthwhile. Think, well, what's worthwhile? That's up to you. What will get you out of bed in the morning in a miserable day? What would be worthwhile? And one of the things I've been talking to my audiences about a lot when they're responding to this, great, and I think this is a really important thing to know. Almost everything that you do that will be meaningful will involve the adoption of responsibility, interestingly enough, because people think, well, vacation, impulsive pleasure, cocaine, alcohol, hedonism, essentially, that's what makes life worthwhile. It's like, no, that's not right. like there's a place for hedonic pleasure, man, for sure. Although you got to be careful of it. Because it's a trap, right? Well, alcohol and cocaine, a very good example
even if
of
I
that.
stay up and have 2 pieces of key lime pie, I feel like I've gone to Dante's seventh circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel you there. But there is a place and time.
Yeah, well, but most of the time, what gets you out of bed is the fact that you're doing something that's worthwhile. You're taking care of yourself a little bit, at least, moving yourself forward, and maybe you're moving your family forward, doing something for someone else at least, and maybe if you really got your act together, you're doing something for the community.
Right.
And so you need a meaning to set against the tragedy of existence and the malevolence of existence, for that matter. And the meaning is mostly to be found in the adoption of responsibility. And so that's so interesting because it's not obvious.
Right.
It's
It
like,
doesn't seem like it. Oh, I take on more. I'm already overwhelmed. But you're not overwhelmed. You're just stagnant. You're just stuck. And you just, or maybe that's not it. You're not just stagnant, but you can do it. And the reward is going to be there. You just might not see it. It doesn't feel that way.
Well, and it'll feel that way a little bit at 3 a.m. You think, well, what did I do to justify my wretched existence? You can say, well, at least I got out of bed and I cleaned my room a little bit, and maybe I did something for my daughter.
Yeah.
Not a complete waste of space.
Right.
And no one can live with that kind of shame and guilt. It just takes you out.
And that's what takes you into other things like drugs and alcohol.
God, that's for sure.
Excuses, because then you feel a little bit more justified. It gives you like, oh, well, I'm not just a bad parent. I have an addiction, or I have this, or
And you can use it as a temporary escape,
100%.
So, yeah. And sometimes people also, they're genuinely depressed or they're genuinely anxious, and the medication actually does help. And that's also, positive and negative. Negative insofar as it produces a trap.
And why are so many men aimless right now? Why are so many men right now
it's partly because they're actually not encouraged. Like, I'm stunned, and I think this is partly...
parents can't parent anymore.
Well,
it's
there's
like
that.
It's like, I know I heard you and Joe talking about like nobody, the baseball games are all, the softball games, everybody wins.
Yeah.
But then a parent doesn't.
That's a stupid game where
it's
everybody
stupid.
wins.
But here's
you can't win if everybody wins.
Right.
No one won.
No one won. But also, no parent gets to have the conversation like, oh, you lost and this is okay.
Yeah.
Or no parent gets to have that conversation like, oh, you won. Don't be a sore winner.
Yeah, well, the conversation is, oh, you lost. But that doesn't mean you're a loser.
Right.
Right. That's the important conversation.
But that conversation's not even happening
not
now.
If you don't have the opportunity to lose.
Right. So there's no reprimanding from the parents. There's no connection there with like, if everybody's a winner, then there's no, you don't need your parent to, move you back into a comfortable space, when you get off.
Yeah, well, you don't get to tell your son, oh, hell, what's a loss to a great kid like you?
Yeah.
It's like,
and
you can
it's
handle
something
that,
like
man.
that.
Next game, go for it.
Yeah. There's no like you put your arm around your son's neck after he's lost, and he feels that.
You
and
say, good game, man.
Yeah.
Good game.
And that,
or you say, look, that looked a little rough. Anything you think you could do better next time?
Yeah. What can we do?
What can we do better next time?
Yeah, let's get out. We'll try it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that kind of stuff, those moments, I feel like are the moments that build, especially young men, and live inside of them forever.
Yeah, well, so one of the things that I find quite painful is all these people that I'm encountering. And I think it's more true for young men, because I think young women are getting more encouragement from society, all things considered. And maybe not, maybe that's not right, but it doesn't matter. It's still the case that lots of young men come and talk to me, and it's obvious that no one has ever encouraged them.
Yeah.
And I mean encouraged technically. No one has attempted to instill courage into them.
Yes.
And to say, look, man, you're worthwhile. You're worthwhile. No. There's something in you that could develop into something great. That's sort of like the right definition of worthwhile. It's not like you're okay the way you are. It's like, no, you're not.
Right.
What? And why would I ever say that? Because okay, you're just fine. Well, great. You might as well just like take Ambien and become unconscious because you got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there's plenty for you to do to put yourself together. But you're the sort of person who could do it. You could put yourself together. You could be more than you are, and you should be, because otherwise the world degenerates into hell.